welcome to Lifestyle with Luke Lintott, the top podcast for corporate health, wellness, and living your best life. My name is Luke, and today I'm interviewing Jtbs Davey McNaught about beats, love, and life.
Yes,
Davey and I
sir.
met each other over a year ago at Pride San Diego, and through my friend Erica. He is a wonderful human being and he has amazing music. I actually use your beats in my classes online. Also, in this podcast, you are the artist of the introductory song, but not just that. Davey has over 26,000 followers on Spotify, and he's a leader in his industry and has collaborated with top artists like Cookie Kawaii, DJ, and other top rappers and artists throughout Southern California. And he is joining us from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. Thank you so much, JTBS.
Thank you
Welcome.
for thank you for having me. It's such an honor to not only just be on this podcast with you, Luke, but just be in your presence once again. It's always just good energy when you're in the room. So thank you for having me. Very honored to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you. And it's beautiful to see you thriving in your new life over in Vegas and all the great things you've been doing up until then and beyond. And I'd love to hear more, Davey, about the work that you do and more about beat work and beyond.
Yeah, I'm coming into oh my gosh, I'm gonna like totally misquote myself. 11th, 12th year making beats. And just looking back of where I started from, I remember listening to this artist by the name of Jtbs, and I remember like I wanted to make beats, like I wanted to make music. Just yeah, it just from that moment on, just once I got my hands on the tool, it was just nothing but just ups and downs, and eventually I got to the point where it caught the ear of other producers and other rappers. And then, just through trial and error, I got to this point where I'm, just able to work with artists and just, run my own studio sessions. And it's just been nothing but a blessed trip, ups and downs like everything else, but it's just been a blessing, man.
That's wonderful. And I know too, when I met you, you had also just met one of my great friends, Erica, and you both
Yeah.
hit it off. And now you are together in Vegas, living your best life. And I would love to hear more about that journey of finding love. Maybe it is love of self, love of your partner. For all the people out there that are calling in their soulmate, I just wanted to applaud because you and your partner are just such a good match. And
Yeah.
for people out there that are like, should I settle? Should I just be alone forever? What advice would you give to people out there that are manifesting love?
Man, you know what? I'm gonna tell you what RuPaul says all the time. If you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you gonna love someone else? So I think that's been the biggest lesson that my girlfriend has taught me, is just loving myself. And you know what? Nobody can tell you what's right for your life. Like, Luke, I'm sure you've had people tell you this: you need to live your life by going down road A. And road A might not be the best solution for you. And all I can do is just encourage people to just, love yourself, know yourself, because nobody's gonna know you and love you better than you. Even if that person, you spend every day with them, you have to love yourself. That foundation, you have to start that foundation at home. That's something my mom taught me. Even when we were young, you gotta stay where you're celebrated, not just, tolerated.
Absolutely. And I've had this similar experience in my own self-love journey. The more that I love myself, the more that others love me, and the more that I can love other people, right? And I can love the world, since how you treat
Yeah.
yourself, your body, your mind, your spirit, is how you will treat those that you interact with, and also Mother Nature and beyond, right? So I'm a
Yeah.
strong believer that a lot of the issues that we're facing today could be solved with the mindfulness, with the self-love, with connecting with people beyond just superficiality and all those things. And I think that what's so great with you, Davey, is that I see your authenticity really shine, right? Like in your videos
Thank
that you
you.
post on Instagram, and also your beats and your creativity. And I think that that's something so valuable for the people out there to hear that may be struggling with that whole journey of finding their sort of flow, right? And so I
Yeah.
know in my own experience, it's been about shifting, of course, who I'm around, what I'm doing, how I'm hydrating, what I'm eating, right? But it's also been about shifting what I listen to in terms of
Oh,
music, but also in
yes. That's
terms
a
of
good
what you
point.
have news and people. So I'd love to hear more about your own experience in terms of beats, in terms of beyond, like what do you listen to that makes you so successful in the great work you do?
I listen to a lot of podcasts, including which should include this one. Um, I listen to things that really let me have a space to just emotionally connect with myself, whether that's music or just a speech or just even TV. I always want to listen to things that reinforce ideas that are important to me. Family is very important to me. Just being close with and I use the term family very loosely. Like, family doesn't have to be blood. Family could be, if it's that sweet elderly lady that always checks on you, calls you every week, that's me, ma. You know what I mean? Like, that's family. That's family. Family
Yeah.
is just what you make it. And just, like you said, you always want to make sure that you're around people that have your best interest in heart. That doesn't mean you guys are always going to get along. Like, of course, that's as long as Luke, your favorite color might be, what's your favorite color?
Right now is green, but it
Okay,
changes.
so if as long as you think green is your favorite, like, it might be the best color in the world, you could say green is your favorite. And I'm like, oh no, orange, we're always gonna have our differences, but as long as we're not letting our differences overstep our similarities and just our connection and energy. I'm like you said, me and you, we're big. We've talked about energy for hours. We've talked about just keeping each other, keeping good energy when we can, and when we can't, just trying to be mindful of it and just keeping ourselves grounded. And making beats is one of the way I do it. And I've had issues with just, wanting to make perfect beats, even when I first started, when 2011, 12, my first beat, I was like, yeah, this is the best beat ever. And even now I can even say I'm still having to, talk myself out of, like, this has to be the most perfect. There's no such thing. Like, perfect is the enemy of just good and good enough. And I want to encourage anybody who's in any art field or just any creative outlet, don't let your perfectionism stop you from getting higher and higher, step by step. There's the ceiling is only where you place it, because, to give you an example, and sorry if I'm overstepping, Luke.
Keep going.
Just
Yeah.
to just to give an example, like, I would say, um, I used to be really hard on myself. I would say maybe year 5, year 6, I wasn't making beats that I wanted. I wasn't getting clients. I was struggling. I was not where I would say I wanted to be. And my inner dialogue was just reflective of just, like, my mind state. I was really negative. I was, oh, my beats are good enough. They're not going to sell. They're not this and that. And man, if you want to talk about the power of just, like, inner dialogue, manifestation, the minute that stopped, I just, I was starting to get clients. I was starting to get spins, I was starting to get collaborations. I went from making music that, I was sort of so about, to, like, I actually enjoy this. I'm actually adding this to my playlist. And, it's the thing with music is it can be anything. It can be anything. There's no guidelines. Of course there's guidelines, but how guidelines were meant to be broken, right? That's what the kids are saying.
Yes. Absolutely. I loved what you mentioned too that there's this fine line between success and failure. You see it over and over
Yeah.
again. In my own experience, when I think things aren't going to work out, that's actually when I've gotten more clients. That's when I got healthy, right? And for me, it's been recently even about bulking up in a good way, right? Like putting on
Yeah.
good muscle, getting more good people around me, as opposed to shedding, like before it was about shedding things, releasing toxicity, releasing even that heavier weight when I was a little bit heavier, right? And loving myself
That's
through it all.
amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, and it's but it's come through really changing my beliefs, right? Your life is one everything that you desire in your life, you're just one belief away from that experience, right? Since we become what we believe, not what we want. Going deeper into that, Davey, for you, as you were mentioning, like it's been about letting go of that perfectionism. And I think there's right now more than ever a lot of people, and you're seeing it especially with younger generations, this
Yes.
feeling of like we got to be perfect before we can go live on Facebook, before we can ask the person on a date, before we can launch our beats business, what have you. What helped you take action before you were ready, before you were quote unquote perfect in love, in life, and beats?
You, wow, what a beautiful, beautiful question that I can only appropriately respond as you're gonna fail, and you have to understand that that's we put such a negative connotation on failure that just the word failure, you feel icky. You're like, oh, failure, and I for me, I try, you have to try not to let that words like failure, become your identity.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to detach from what what your work is. Like there's sometimes where I attach myself to my work, and you can't do that because let's say you had a bad day, right? And the product that you make, the music that you make, the art that you make isn't good. That's not reflective of you, the person. That's a reflective of you having a bad day. You might not be in the right headspace. You have to give yourself grace when you can, and this is something I'm saying to myself. We are all just works in progress, and you know all we can do is just like you said, just making sure you having the right support system. You're nurturing yourself. You getting the sleep. I know people like to promote the grind culture. I completely am against that. Get sleep, get your sleep when you can. That's so important. That'll make that'll be the difference between you having a great day and you having it's an okay day.
Absolutely. And we've stepped into this time where working harder is not working better, right? Studies have shown over and over again that productivity increases when you do sleep well, when you do, of course, connect with good people, and when you do take breaks, right? And the same goes with like the
Yeah.
exercise routine, right? Like we have what I like to call a sloth day, like your rest day where you're not supposed to work out, and that's when your muscles grow, right? And
Yeah.
and I know for you in this great journey that you've had, where you've learned that where you've taken up, you're mentioning failure is not your identity, right? Like it's separate from who you are, and
Yeah.
you're so much more than like the screw ups, right? And those are actually what make us more successful, more happy, is like turning that failure, quote unquote, into wisdom, right? And placing it into a different part in your brain so that you can actually become better, right? So I'm just curious,
Right.
like about your experience with changing that, getting it out of your identity. Like what has worked for you, like in creating those barriers?
Oh, I would say definitely taking the time to step away from what you're doing, like getting out into the real world, being around real people, because it's really easy to get lost in what you're doing. I recently just started working from home, and the biggest hurdle I've had to learn was separating work from home life. And even with the music, sometimes I'll forget that my girlfriend will want to spend time and maybe watch TV and a movie or go out. And I'm like, oh, I gotta make this hi-hat a little bit louder. I gotta make this, piano a little bit softer. That's what's in my mind. So I think it's just making sure you're keeping yourself accountable. I feel like a lot of times we like to tell ourselves what we want to hear. And I'm guilty of doing this too. I'll call myself out. No shame, no shame, no shade. Um, just guilty of, hey, you know what? Like, I have to get this done, because it's really easy to just, let deadlines pass and, let obligations that you have to slide by, like it could have been easy to be like, Luke, I'm not going to do the interview today because I don't feel like it. But that's it's an obligation. You got to keep it. You got to be accountable to yourself. You got to keep yourself accountable. And if not, you find yourself somebody or people, a group of people that keep you accountable, keep you floating. There and I can definitely say as somebody that's been hurt before, been let down, been disappointed, and not just from other people but myself. You have to let every day just be its own day. Like today is Monday. Any problems that happen today, they're born today, they die today. You got to try to let next day be its own thing. Same thing with music. It's this could be the greatest song today, the next day it could be the worst song I've ever made, but I have to keep going because I only failed when I stop, right? When I completely say, hey, this is, and I not to say that I'm gonna be 65 and tinnitus in one ear. Oh yeah, I'm still gonna be, I would love to just be in like a managerial role of just like helping younger artists get a platform to just do what they love, especially just doing it for this long. And I think I've just developed such a love for it at this point that I would love to just see other people thrive in this environment. And not that it's an environment where everybody can thrive, but if I can be the difference between somebody, getting their breakout and not, then I would love to do that. I've done that for other artists before, especially when you work locally. My music's on Spotify, but some people their music is just on SoundCloud or YouTube. And I love just having this platform that I can help boost people to get the recognition that I believe they deserve, especially because I'll say no man is an island. I didn't get here by myself, and I want to push other people to be where they should be.
That's beautiful. I think you brought up such a great important key is that community and having people like you, Davey, like who are pushing you higher, surrounding you. And I
Yeah.
think for me that's been such a huge part is like being around high vibe people. I know when we first met each other, I was like, this guy has such a good energy, right? I felt better after we spent time together. And that's like why we hung out in real life, not just once or twice, but multiple times, right? And
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think it's been all about like listening to my intuition and then also knowing that it's okay to be alone. It's okay to recharge. And I know in one of Lady Gaga's interviews with Oprah Winfrey, Oprah asked Lady Gaga, like, how the hell are you so creative? And Lady Gaga mentioned, she's like, Oprah, after this interview, I'm not talking to anyone else. I'm going to go do my creative thing and I'm going to break through that door and find out that next album release that's going to get me to the other side. And she had, it's a really good one to check out. She was talking about like finding a way to like break through the door physically or a bomb or talking your way through it. And it's so valuable, especially in our field, which has a lot to do with creativity, right? We're in the era of imagination. You can Google just about anything. Not just that,
Yes.
with artificial intelligence, you can even
Oh,
get AI to write stuff for you and to date for you now, in fact, which is
yeah. Oh,
wild.
yeah.
I've heard of people even dating AI right now, and it just makes them feel
Man,
loved.
I personally haven't, but I wouldn't be surprised.
And so I'm curious, like, as and doing AI is now doing music, right? And so like for the things that you're doing in terms of you, Davey, like what has really set you apart as a human, as an artist, as a person who's helping others that might make you unique from even AI or maybe just someone else out there? Like what makes you special?
Oh, I like that question. Um, I think what would make me different from AI, I'll just say AI. I'll start off with AI. That's a good starting point. I would say what would make me different for AI is just having that, every artist just has their fingerprint, it's just their identity. Like, I'll give you an example. Like you just said, Lady Gaga, if a Lady Gaga song comes on, it's her, and I feel like for me, I just love having, things that make me smile, that not necessarily that everybody listening will get, but just things that, I could listen to. You could play me a beat right now and I can tell you my thoughts during that session. I could tell you what was probably going on. I made a whole just album drunk one time, and I listened back to it, and I just sometimes you have to stop being hard on yourself, you guys. Like, that's all I can
You're
say, because
overthinking
it's
it,
just,
right?
yeah, you're I notice a lot of times, just, what did Bob Ross say? Like, happy accidents, the beats that I've had the most fun, the beats that I've come back to the most, are the beats that just came because I accidentally clicked the wrong thing. That, creativity is just whatever you want to just put your mind to. I literally, I'm gonna give a glowing recommendation. If I could, I literally just saw Across the Spider-Verse, um and as a film, even that's a film that inspired me to work on music, because this is you could just tell when you can tell somebody cares about what they're doing, it shows. And I want to just apply that to what I'm doing always, especially with music. I never want anybody listening to feel like I'm insulting their intelligence, or thinking like, I never want to just put anything out that I wouldn't want to listen to, and I was doing that for years, Luke. I was doing that for so many years, where I was just making music that I thought I had to make. And to make music that I actually like now, it's such a different headspace to be. And I that means the music comes out at a slower pace than, labels will probably like, because if you're in the industry, you have to put music out on a certain deadline. There is no like, hey, I'm not really feeling this project anymore. It's like, yeah, you're putting that out, buddy. It's going out. But just remembering that, like I said earlier, Luke, you can't let that there is no perfect, and let people give you the credit if you deserve it. Let people call your music good if it's good. If it's not, then it's not personal. We all like, I can't say I love country, doesn't mean country music's bad. I can't say I love every pop song. Pop is a great genre. Can't say it's every song is for me. Everybody has their own thing, and as long as you like what you do, as long as at the end of the day you're walking away with it being proud of what you've done, even if it's not necessarily where you want to be, that's life. We just have to, you tell me this all the time, Luke. We have to just enjoy every step that we're at, because every step is important. This step might teach you how to just be present. This next step might teach you, hey, this thing that I'm doing is not necessarily working out for me. I don't have to necessarily label myself as a failure or attach this to my identity. This can just be a moment of learning, a moment of giving myself grace to just do better next time. Because when I think of people that I really look up to, I'll just, give you a couple artists. I love Kendrick Lamar. Um, there's a ton of music producers. Anderson Paak, if you want to just, and you when you hear these guys and how they're still making music, you kind of have to tell yourself like, you're gonna keep doing this, because only you set the barriers. Only you set the barriers for yourself. You are the biggest barrier to where you want to be. And that sounds very like, what is he saying? I'm in my way. And it's just, you'll know when you're the problem. You know, it's everything will be going right and you'll be feeling all sunshine. But when it comes down to you really being where you want to be, and there's nothing else around you but you, it's like, get out of your way, go do what you want to do, you know.
Absolutely. And I recently went and saw you when I went to the Lovers and Friends concert, and I got to see a lot of the artists that I grew up listening to, like Mariah Carey and Usher and
Yeah,
Omarion. And when I was physically there and listening to them, I was like, it really, going back to that energy, that really great thing that makes you unique and makes you different than AI and different than every other human on this planet. It really got me thinking also about the beauty in resilience, right? And the things that you've overcome. Like, I even think, of course, of Mariah Carey. She's been in the industry for decades and has soared, but it's not like Mariah Carey's life was easy. In fact, if her life was easy, I don't think she would have gone as higher. She might have even not have had that wisdom, right? And
yeah,
like the same with like her singing abilities, right? There have been concerts where people have given her a lot of flack for doing a horrible job, but when I heard her live, I was like, wow, like she is so strong and beautiful and there, right? And it really got me thinking how there is, going back to that failure thing, there is no such as a failure. It's just a new pathway to success, just a new
yeah,
pivot. And also it's everything is energy, right? And so I just think like going back to the impact that you have with your music or whatever you're doing, it's like you're just getting an exchange of that energy. So if you have a bigger impact on people's lives, you're going to receive that into your life, and there really is no limit to the love, to the health, the happiness. It's just the limits that we create or
yes,
we inherit. And going back to your story, Davey, like there's been like, it sounds like there's been like this big shift in what you're doing. And I would love to hear what you're calling in, like what are you manifesting in the future in beat, work, and love and life?
wow. That is a wonderful question. I know I keep saying that. They're all wonderful questions. You're a wonderful interviewer.
Thank you.
um, no, I see in my future just I actually want to just expand my music palette, you know, just kind of start getting into genres that I'm normally not familiar with. Like, I definitely would like to see how it would be to just try to do, you know, like I said, pop or just R&B. That would be so much fun, of just like, you know, getting my feet wet. And just because, you know, I grew up primarily doing hip hop and R&B, but not really just getting my, you know, entire body just affiliated with this. So I think it's I think the most talented and versatile produce but can't speak English today. The most versatile producers that I can think of, their music sounds like it could come from any time period. And man, when you make music, at least for me, when I make music, I like I said, the inspiration could come from, you know, a conversation, or it could come from a video game that I played when I was 10, or it could come from, you know what I mean, just, you know, being in nature. You know, the sky's the limit. And just, you know, I do want to make a mention of just like, you know, being present in your identity, because for a long time I think that's why my music, for a long time I wasn't happy with it, was because I didn't associate it with my identity. You know, I wasn't proud of it. And the minute that I took ownership and said, this is me, for better or worse, this is my music, this is what it sounds like, you know, it just, things just got better. You really just have to, if you guys don't take anything else from this podcast, get out of your way. Get out of your way. Because the amount of opportunities that will come your way if you just continue to put, you know, and I think the thing about creating art is you're only showing the stuff you're proud of. Nobody's sharing the drawings that they don't like. Nobody's sharing the music that I don't, the lyrics sound terrible. Nobody, but you have to, those are the ones that get you to the place that you want to be, you know? You might make 10 bad songs to get one good song, but guess what? You have 10 songs worth of experience now that you can take forward to the future. So it's not that you made 10 songs that were bad. It's you made 10 songs that you can learn from now, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I really do think about all of those experiences as like building blocks to something great, right? And you really see that in what you've been doing, Davey, with some of your songs getting 500,000 listeners and all your followers, right? And
Yeah.
also where there's a will, there is a way in whatever you're doing. And so it's really, really important to believe in yourself and to, like you
Yes.
said, get out of your own way. And that does mean sometimes stepping into a new personality to create a new personal reality. And that's something that we can do through the hypnosis meditation, but also through positive relationships, right? Which can help you in the
Yeah.
healing process. Since a lot of us have experienced challenging things, hello, like COVID during these last couple of years, but also things growing up, misinterpretations from the past, heartbreak, okay? Especially if it's your first love, that can taint a lot of things. And so I just wanted to pivot really quick and just mention to like Davey and has it manifested true love, right? Like it has been beautiful to see this happen. And also like to witness like your growth as a human together in partnership. And I know for the people out there that are in the dating world and are feeling like, man, like when's that right person going to come back? You know, I actually had a conversation with my friend yesterday who I went to her wedding in Texas, and we were talking about how sometimes you find true love through your network, right? You can find it through people that you already know. Just look for a decent person that's single, right? That you already know. But number two,
Yeah.
it can happen through divine. It can happen through the dating apps and all of that. It can happen through walking down the street, meeting someone at the bus stop. So I wanted to know, like, what could you tell me more about your love journey and what's worked and how you knew that it was true love?
Ooh, if it's the right person slash persons, it's gonna be easy. It's relation. I'm not gonna relationships take work. Don't get me wrong, Luke. Relationships take work. Like there are moments where you have to just think like, wow, I'm upset. How do I approach this situation? This is my person, you know. There's moments where you guys are you're gonna be looking at each other like, it's so uncomfortable, but you know what? If it's the right person, you guys will want to work it out, you know, and be okay that every person you meet is not going to be the one, you know. I know some people that somebody bashes an eyelash at them and they think, oh, this is the man of my dreams. This is the woman of my dreams. No, no, no. Make sure you guys like each other first, you know? Sometimes people get in relationships and they don't even like each other, you know? And the first night me and my girlfriend met, I was like, I like you. And I was not,
Right.
I can tell you, Luke, I was not at the time, before we even got in a relationship, I was not somebody who spent the night. But because I liked her enough, I just stayed. It felt right. It felt weird going home. I went home and I was like, this doesn't feel right. You know, so I think when you don't have to question, you know, if this person is really loyal to you, and I always advise people, don't listen to what people tell you. Look and see what people do. You will feel that. Let somebody's actions show you that they love you, and instead of what, you know, because Luke, I could tell you I love you right now. You know, I could tell you deep from the bottom of
Right.
my heart that I love you. But if this is the last time me and you talk, I wouldn't blame you if you're like, yeah, this man has no affection for me or does not care about my well-being, you know? So it's kind of you have to show up. Relationships are about showing up, you know? It isn't just about how much fun we can have together. Of course we're gonna have fun, you know, just by proxy of love. To me, love is fun. I equate love with fun, you know. If I can smile and laugh with you, I'm having fun. If we're not having fun, what are we doing together? You know, I can't be I tell my girlfriend this all the time. I don't want to be the reason why you're upset. You know, I can't be the same person to make you laugh and the same person to make you cry. And sure, I can be both of those people, but not on purpose, Luke. You know, I can't purposely be the reason why you're sad. That's too much for me. So I think it's about even before finding the one, finding yourself, you know, making sure you're right, making sure your health is A1. Because you can't take care of somebody if you're not taking care of yourself, you know? You really can't.
So true. And I always think of it as like, in order to find the one, you must first become the one. Right. And
Yes.
I know for me, I've gone through this body mind transformation. And before I would attract people that did not value me and I remember when especially when my skin was real bad, I would meet up in real life, and then get unmatched, right? Because of the physical aspect. And now it's like it's shifted, right? I've been going to this whole new level with people that I'm meeting, not even just romantically, but I'm just talking like energetically, right? Like working with different CEOs and celebrities and really great people. I'm sure if y'all are watching it, and then just good people. I'm just saying good people in general. It doesn't have to be looks or fame, how much in your bank account. No, no, no. Just good vibration
Right.
people. And so, like, just going deeper into that, I know for me personally, Davey, it was about me embracing my inner child and me also healing some of these like harder things from the past and placing them into my body as memories, as opposed to painful experiences that kind of held me by the neck and kept me acting like a boring straight boy that just didn't have that same that same creativity, that same imagination,
Yeah.
right? I had to really go back into tapping into my inner gymnast, my inner actor, since I did all these creative things when I was a kid, and I gave it up when I hit middle school, right? Because I tried to fit in, and I suffered from the disease to please. And things really got so much better, like right when I did that whole healing process. And
Yes.
it's that's been wonderful. And I'd love to hear just more about your words of wisdom for people out there that maybe they went through some sort of abuse or some sort of challenging experience. Like, what's helped you in healing so that you could truly be the one and attract the one?
Yes. I want to congratulate you on your healing journey because it's not easy. It's the thing about healing is it's such an ugly process. You have to look at the aspects of yourself that are so undesirable. You know, you have to kind of look at your past as such an objective view because it's really easy to be biased to yourself. You know, we never want to be the bad guy in the story, and sometimes we
Huh?
are. Sometimes you are,
Yeah.
but I think it's just with healing, just trying to remember that it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You are your own barometer for how well you are doing. You know, if you are doing well today, nobody can take that away from you. And if you're not doing well today, nobody can take that away from you either. You know, it's all about just making sure that you are loving on yourself. You are showing yourself empathy because there are days where the sun might be shining and you don't even feel it. You know, there might be days where, you know, it should be raining ice cream, money, you know, just the most wonderful things in the world. And it might not feel like it just feels bleak and gray, but as long as you are finding ways to just keep yourself up, to keep going, don't let yourself be alone, you know. You I there's this quote from Ted Lasso that I remember, and it's found its way to my heart um so profoundly. And it was even though we lost as a team, we lost together, you know, and about that community, you know. We go through, we win together, we lose together. But you cannot isolate yourself. And you have to know, like, you have to know that there are gonna be moments on the downside, but that's not it. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. And the light looks different for everybody. You gotta find your light, you know. Luke, you found your light. I'm finding my light. My girl's finding her light. We're all finding our lights. It looks different for everybody, but as long as you are keeping yourself up as much as you can, and when you can't, give yourself grace. That's it.
Yes, grace, compassion as you continue forward. And I know in my own journey, it's been about realizing that it's okay to not be perfect. That's actually a sign that I'm going to be growing, right? If I just imperfectly go live, right? Or I just imperfectly go on a date. And also in that whole healing journey, I want to emphasize you don't have to do it alone, right? Like even just
Yeah.
commenting here, connecting with us, following Davey, following me, that's like a really great way. And I think what's so different now in 2023, as opposed to me when I grew up in the 90s, is that you can connect with anyone, anywhere, anytime, right? You can even listen to the replay if
Mm-hmm.
you're not here live with us. And I think that's what's so great, right? And you can also reprogram now as an adult. You are not your past. And another thing I've really been wanting to emphasize is your genes are not your destiny, right? So the body, the physical aspect of what you have right now is actually a manifestation of your thoughts, your lifestyle. You're actually activating certain genes and other ones will remain dormant, right? And so
Yes.
if you really think positively, like you've really done a lot of that self-work you were mentioning earlier, that's going to of course help with your creativity, with your music, with your career. But number two, it's going to help you with getting healthy, right? And also drinking and eating the right things, because a lot of these habits are automatic. And the
Mm-hmm.
biggest changes I've noticed are my small but pivotal daily routines, right? Like doing the meditation, listening to my affirmations, getting sleep, right? I didn't used to get sleep on the regular, like going back to that. So I'm curious, Davey, like for you and all that you've manifested, the greatness in your love life, the amazingness in your career, what daily habits have helped you the most?
Reading. You got to get your eyes off a screen, man. Just eating, you know, exercising, keeping yourself active, because it's really, especially if you have anxiety, you know, I know that's really easy to just get warped up in your head, and you got to do what you can to keep yourself in motion, you know, exercising, eating healthy, just, you know, socializing. Sometimes hopping on the game might be relaxing, you know, just playing Mario Kart or doing something, you know, just finding ways to just detox and decompress. Because you could be a social butterfly and be outside all the time, but you got to recharge, you know, and everybody recharges in different ways. So I think it's about just, for me, finding ways that don't require a lot of like attention from other people, and things that I can just like lose myself in, you know, like I'll be quick to lose myself in a really just, you know, very self-help motivational book, or just kind of like I have this book right here that you may or may not be familiar with.
Is
Ah,
that the Four Agreements? Yep.
so just even, you know, just keeping things in perspective, just where I can grab them, you know, just remembering that there's more than one ways to like keep yourself occupied. Because, you know, I notice when I have too much time on my hands, like idle time, that's really bad for me, you know, because I'm not saying that from relaxing, you know, just kind of like if I could be doing something and I'm not doing anything, I'm just like, you know, let me read a book, you know, just keep myself out of my mind, you know, as somebody that deals with anxiety, you know, I have to for my health just do things that keep me grounded, you know, just keep me present and keep me just in my sound mind and body, you know.
I love that. Write that down, everyone. The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. That's a good one. And I wanted to emphasize one of the four agreements that really helped me a lot is don't take everything personally. So
Yes.
when people don't, when you get people trolling on your feed or what have you, people make a negative comment to you in person, it's kind of like I think of it as just kind of going through me, not into me. Right? Like it's not a part of my identity if you like me or you don't like me because I love myself. So
Yeah.
that's really
There
helped
we
me a lot. I
go.
remember, and I mean, if you scroll on back to my Instagram before I started doing yoga and fitness, pre 2016, 2017, 2018, it was like you will see that I was kind of worried. I let the trolls control me. Now I don't, right? Like I really post my truth. I live my truth too. And I think that's really like being open and being real to who I am. I've magnetized people that align with me, jobs, experiences, what have you, companies, and I've repelled those that don't. And it's just such
Yeah.
a better, for me, it's been such a better way of living. And then also, I think that there is that middle ground where it's been good, where I'm constantly learning and understanding other perspectives, right? Because not everyone lives in San Diego by the beach and has my experience, right? There's so
Yeah.
many people out there that like there's a valid reason why they are the way they are and the way that they think the way they think, right? And so for me that's another big one. And I wanted to mention too, there are ways you can detox. I want to shout out people in the program who are detoxing physically, but then there's a social media spiritual detox, right, where you actually detox from all of these notifications that we're getting now more than ever. We're probably right now in the most distracted time in human history.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
sometimes I think I agree with you, Davey, like just putting down your phone, reading a book, sitting outside. Sometimes I purposefully leave my phone next to my computer and I don't take it with me when I go grocery shopping because then it makes it so like I'm in the moment when I'm getting my vegetables and I'm meeting people there, right? And that's why I
Yeah.
think I like
I
yoga so much. I'm not scrolling. One of
right.
the many reasons.
The word of the day is detachment.
Hmm.
You have to practice not even just detachment from, like you said, trolls, because and not even just digital trolls. People, there are real life trolls.
Absolutely.
I know some people that are trolls, and you kind of just you have to keep your power. You give your when you give somebody attention that doesn't deserve it, you giving away your power. We are more powerful than we know. And I think a lot of us, especially for the younger people, we're around people that we don't feel our most confident in. We don't feel the most confidence in. And it's really hard, but it's very cliche. You gotta just learn to let it pass through you, like you said. you know because I'll tell you, the thing that people hate the most is to be ignored. That's the you want to get somebody back, and not even in a mean way, but just in a healthy, productive way, is just do you ignore.
Right. And
Because
you've
why would I give you my time and energy when I could give myself that time and energy and be investing that into something for myself, right?
absolutely the biggest form of what retribution, whatever word you want to use, when you've been
Mm-hmm.
done dirty by someone is you thriving, you getting healthy, you living your best life, you finding love, right? And the thing is with certain personality types, they actually want to bring you down to their level so that they can fight with you and bring you and mess up your energy. And we don't want them to fuck with your energy, right? Because when if you are happier, you actually tend to be healthier. So they did a study
Yeah.
on nuns in a monastery. They had the same lifestyle, same diet, all that. I mean, this is probably not surprising. The happier nuns lived longer. The unhappy nuns, they just lived a shorter life, right? So when you're happy, when you're free, when you have those boundaries, you're really more likely to literally activate those genes that are going to create longevity, that are going to get you healthy, lean, whatever that is to you. Okay, maybe it is
Yeah.
bulking up. All right. And So yeah, I want to thank you. This has been so beautiful, Davey. I wanted to ask for any advice, maybe for your former self that might be listening to this podcast. What advice
Oh
would you give to them?
man. Yes, I love that question, Luke. Man, if I could tell younger Davey today, besides get out of your way. Besides move out the way. Enjoy every day and find something to enjoy. There's life, because there's going to be so much days where you're not happy, and it's not going to be your fault. You know, there's going to be days where the sun's going to, like I said earlier, the sun's going to be shining and you don't feel it, but it's not your fault. You are going to have the life that you want if you keep going, if you never give up. And you haven't given up, because I'm here. So thank you for not giving up, And Luke, I loved how you talked about having, protecting your inner child, because I feel like what's just gotten me to this point is just looking at my younger self as like an inner child, and just, you kind of have to like be your own parent. Your parents raise you one way, and you kind of have to reparent yourself for how you want to be as an adult. And it's a weird cycle of, oh my gosh, I have to like reprogram myself and this yada yada yada. But it's so worth it, because when you become the person you want to be, nobody can take that away from you. There's no better feeling than just waking up in yourself. And like, even with the music, to give you an example, when I'm making the music I want to make, and it's something that nobody can take away from me. So just do things that nobody can take away from you, that make you happy. As long as you're not hurting nobody else, do things that make you happy. Because life is so short, and before you know it, me and you are not going to be here anymore. So that thing that you're afraid of to do, that person you're afraid to ask out, will she like me? Will he like me? Will they like me? Who knows? I don't know, but you better do it before that opportunity. As somebody that's let a lot of opportunities pass through the door, don't let them pass by. Just do it. Just do it.
Just do it, y'all. I can't even agree with you more. And in the comments, I want to see, what are you doing to enjoy today? Whether it's the podcast or it's Facebook, Instagram, I want to hear that. And also, Davey, people that are vibing with you, that want to get onto this good vibration of love, life, and beats, where can they find you?
Yes, I am on almost every social media platform under Jtbs or Jtbs Music. Yeah, guys, I am more than happy to just get to meet anybody who's interested. I have such a love for this that I can't see myself stopping anytime soon. And I'm just thankful for all the people that including Luke, who just got me in this position to just become not only comfortable with it, but just excited to see where it goes next. And I'm glad we can't predict the future, Luke, because if we did, it'd be pretty boring, and I'm just excited to see where life just takes me next, especially now that I'm doing things that make me happy instead of things that I think would make other people happy,
Absolutely. I'm excited for you. I will continue to follow the great work you do, and I'm excited for your next release. And
Yes.
I just want to encourage everyone to, follow Davey, follow Jtbs. Number two, if you really liked today's podcast, if you enjoyed it, please leave a review. We'd love to hear from you. And everyone in the social media world, comment your biggest takeaways below. I'll go ahead and reply to all y'all. And happy Pride, by the way. We're in Pride Month. And with that in mind,
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride. We're gonna close out with one of my favorite beats from Jtbs, Something's Wrong. In 3, 2, 1. So you can dance with us if you're here. So just move your arms, put on your shades.
I don't have my shades. Oh no.
Such a good one. you all. Have an amazing day.